Okay, it's 7:31, so good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming this morning on this nice, crisp, -20-degree morning with a beautiful sunrise. So it's nice to see everybody. Tim, do you have a national anthem for us, please?
I most certainly do. Here it comes.
That's great. Thank you, Tim. Another great choice.
Thank you.
Okay, let's turn it over to our Sergeant at Arms, Al. Is Sue not joining us today, Al?
No, unfortunately, she was up most of the night, so she's going to take a pass this morning.
Okay.
Good morning, President Ann. Good morning to all Rotarians. Special warm welcome to Jennifer for Houses for Habitat. Jennifer, lovely to see you this morning. A warm welcome to Howard, our really a very good friend of our Rotary Club. And Howard, you've been involved with us now for it's 10 years, and we appreciate everything that you do at the church. I know you love to get involved with Rotary. It's nice to see you this morning. I'm not sure if Mike is with us from 100 Men Who Give a Damn. If you're out there, Mike, welcome. Nice to see you this morning if you're here. I just wanted to touch on Tim's lovely anthems. Every week we see the national anthem, and we hear it, and we see the flag, the Canadian flag. And I just wanted to touch base on that this morning, because just on February the 15th, just the other day, it was the 56th anniversary of our wonderful Canadian flag. And for those of you who have traveled abroad, I can remember meeting my buddy's daughter and her husband in Portugal. They were two young kids backpacking around Europe, and prominently displayed on the backpacks with a Canadian flag. And I don't think it's news to any of us that if you're out of Canada and you're exhibiting that flag, automatically you've got friends in the group, and they love to see Canadians. The history of our flag, actually 1892 to 1965, the flag of the country was the red ensign. But the country wanted a flag of their own, and there was a move afoot that they should have their own flag. So in 1964, there was a poll taken, and Canadians wanted, 80% of Canadians wanted a national flag. 60% wanted a maple leaf on the flag. So there was a contest put out, and three designs were chosen as the final designs. And George Stanley, Lieutenant Governor of New Brunswick, at that time he was involved with the Canadian Military College. He was the Dean of Arts. He designed the flag that we now have incorporated as our Canadian flag. So in 1965, Queen Elizabeth II made it official, and on February the 15th, it was inaugurated at a public ceremony. And we see that flag all the time, but the one thing that we have to remember about that flag is automatically when you see the Canadian flag, you see a symbol of unity, tolerance, and peace, because Canada has been known as a peacekeeping country for many, many, many years. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on the history of the flag, and thank you for listening to me this morning. President Ann, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. It's a really good history lesson to start us off this morning. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jen now to introduce our topic today.
Thank you, President Ann. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to hope that this works. I facilitate a lot of Zoom meetings, but I don't usually share my screen, so bear with me. Oh, that's the wrong screen. Oh, is that working?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. This morning's introduction is a bit different because you probably know most of everyone who is about to present to you about the new Innisfil Community Foundation today. If I was to go too deep into everyone's bios, we'd run out of time before the presentation, so I'll just be brief. For those of you who don't know, I split my time between my role at the town of Innisfil and as the executive director of the Innisfil Community Foundation. The foundation's volunteer board of directors are the chair, Sandra Rizzardo. Sandra is the owner of San Diego Homes. She's lived in Innisfil for over 20 years, and she is the generous lead donor of the Rizzardo Health and Wellness Center. Our vice chair, Howard Courtney. As you all know, Howard is a friend of Rotary and the founder of the Innisfil Community Church. President Ann Kell, who you know from her role as president of Rotary and all of her many contributions throughout the community, and Treasurer Ann Smith, who you all know as the current Rotary president and also involved in many other community organizations. So I'm going to turn it over to the board to share a bit of background about the foundation and an update on their first year in operations. I think so.
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sandra.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone.
And,
Thank you for allowing us to speak. I'll start with a brief background on how the foundation came to be. Innisfil Community Foundation is the result of many years of planning and saving by our forward-thinking partners with the town of Innisfil. Since 2002, the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, OLG, has provided the town with funds to support community projects. This funding was granted through the town's former Inspiring Innisfil Grant Program, which many of you are probably familiar with. In 2013, the town's council asked the question, how can the OLG's generosity make a bigger impact on the community? Town's council began transferring some of the OLG funds into a reserve fund for the future community foundation. And in 2018, an initial board of directors was appointed to provide oversight at arm's length from council. In 2019, the council formally committed to establishing Innisfil Community Foundation, committed to 5 years of funding and support to help us get the foundation off the ground. After 7 years and 3 terms of council, the Innisfil Community Foundation was finally ready to launch early last year. That's right, in 2020. Next slide, please. The image on your screen was taken on March the 11th, 2020. We were presenting to town council on our big plans to launch the Innisfil Community Foundation with a Dragon's Den style competition that would showcase support local charities. It was on that same day that the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. Who would have ever thought? We understood very quickly that our plans we presented would have to be put aside. We knew that Innisfil Community Foundation would have a much larger role to play in helping our community in this time of need and uncertainty. As the board of directors, we are proud of the many ways in which the Innisfil Community Foundation has supported our community's response to the recovery to COVID-19 so far. And we look forward to introducing new grants and opportunities to continue supporting our community through immediate and long-term impacts of the pandemic. This morning, we will share some of the highlights from our first year in operation. Next slide, Anne, please.
Thank you. Next slide, please, Jen. Like so many organizations last year, we learned to pivot pretty quickly. On March 13th, we created a COVID-19 emergency response fund on the online fundraising platform Canada Helps, where we have raised over $6,000 to date. The board met virtually for the first time the following week, and we asked ourselves how we could best support the community. We decided to release up to $50,000 in COVID-19. Can people who aren't speaking put their mics on so we don't get the echo? Their mutes, thanks. We decided to release up to $50,000 in COVID-19 relief grants to help fill the immediate needs of the charities supporting our community. In the next 3 weeks, we put systems in place to accept applications and grant funding, systems we had expected to spend the next 3 months actually creating. On April 22nd, we opened applications for COVID-19 relief grants. By May 26, we had granted $54,575 to 12 charities in our community. The need was so great that we decided to top up our limit with funds raised online. May 26 was also a very significant day for us because it marks the day that we utilized our membership in the Community Foundations of Canada to join over 170 community foundations from coast to coast in the Emergency Community Support Fund, a rapid response fund initiated by the Government of Canada to support vulnerable populations impacted by COVID-19. By August 11th, we used this funding to inject an additional $75,000, supporting 5 local charities with significant projects. On October the 5th, we signed on to participate in round 2 of the Emergency Community Support Fund. On October 21st, we held a virtual information sharing event to bring the charities we supported to date to learn what each other's doing and to find opportunities to collaborate. On November 13th, we awarded grants to 5 more charities. Between March to December of last year, we had 20 online meetings and made 22 grants to organizations supporting Innisfil residents to the total of $179,575. Turn it over to Howard now.
We're really proud and humbled to be able to support our community in such a big way. And the first year of operation was just so exciting to support so many. As we mentioned at the start of the presentation, the foundation did not come into existence overnight. It was years of planning and saving by the town council. And that meant that we could be here for the community's most needed moment with COVID-19. So let's take a look at some of the grants that we made this past year. Starting with some life-saving equipment that we helped to purchase. So the photo on the left and in the center of the screen are a powered air purifying respirator that we purchased and funded for Stevenson Memorial Hospital. The respirator helps protect our Stevenson's doctors and the nurses from contaminated air in the operating room and in the emergency department. With close to 3,000 Innisfil residents using Stevenson Memorial each year, we felt it was really important for their healthcare heroes to really be protected and help their patients in time of need. And then on the right, you'll see some RVH staff expressing their gratitude for the funding we provided them for a ventilator for the intensive care unit. As the largest hospital in the area, we needed to make sure that RVH was well equipped to save lives of Innisfil residents that might be affected and infected with COVID-19. Next slide, please, and I'll turn it to Ann.
Okay, next we'll turn to some initiatives that assisted with safe socialization and support. On the top left, you'll see a series of tables set up outside of Innisfil Community Church. This project was able to bring the community together safely, to help reestablish connections lost through the pandemic, and to provide a safe outdoor space for support groups to meet. Although the tables are packed away for the winter, we know our community will be eager to get together as soon as the weather allows us to get back outside. So we'll look forward to utilizing this space again in the spring. The photo on the top right shows Innisfil resident Jason, who regained his independence thanks to this mobility device purchased by Independent Living Services of Simcoe County. When Independent Living Services faced funding cuts and lower than anticipated fundraising, we stepped in with a grant to help make sure that their clients like Jason wouldn't become further isolated due to the pandemic. At the bottom, you will see a screenshot from a Gilders Club Zoom call in which certified child life specialist Jocelyn is meeting online to help train therapy dogs. This and many other virtual connections at Gilders Club was made possible through equipment purchase with Innisfil Community Foundation funding. Next slide, please, and I'll turn it back over to Howard.
So helping youth through the pandemic was a big priority for us throughout our funding decisions as well. Kaya on the left is a young cancer survivor who was laid off during the pandemic, and she was still trying to save for university. And through a grant that we made to Ontario parents advocating for children with cancer, Kaya received funds so she could help pursue her dream of becoming a psychiatrist. We also helped the YMCA's efforts to connect with youth with community resources and trying to help them to connect through a warm personal handoff to make sure that nobody slipped through the cracks. And then we also provided funds to the great local organization, Christmas for Kids, a respected organization in town that we're all familiar with, so that they could provide urgent supplies to families throughout Innisfil on the onset of the pandemic. And we also wanted to help them support the Christmas warm clothing Christmas drive to keep families warm during the winter months. Next slide, and we'll turn it to Ann Kell.
Thanks, Howard. So we thought we'd like to take the time this morning to highlight one grant that is making a big impact in Innisfil. And this is a grant that was made to fund CMHA's Peer Support Program. Peer support is created through a trusting, equal, and empowering recovery-oriented relationship between two individuals who share a similar experience. It can serve as an incredibly powerful tool in mental health recovery and in healing. Locally, CMHA's Peer Support Program has been growing momentum over the years, and clinicians understand the role that peer support plays in providing a holistic approach to wellness. But when the COVID-19 pandemic hit our community, resources became very thin, and the program was at real risk of being canceled. So the program went from being funded to being supported by volunteers who were really struggling to keep it afloat. With funding from the Innisfil Community Foundation, CMHA was able to not only continue this life-saving program, but also train more local peer support workers and open this resource up to all Innisfil residents free of charge. Since receiving the grant last fall, CMHA has trained and added 13 peer support workers, plus they've trained many new volunteers. They're actively supporting 50 Innisfil residents through one-on-one peer support, plus dozens more who are participating in CMHA's free online workshops. With the mental health crisis that's developed from the COVID-19 pandemic, Innisfil Community Foundation is thankful that we could help fill this needed gap for our community. Next slide, please, Jen. There really are so many incredible charities working hard to support the residents of Innisfil. And we could talk to you for hours this morning, sharing stories that we've heard and telling you everything that we've learned over the past year. But instead, we'll wrap up this presentation with this list of all the charities that received a grant from Innisfil Community Foundation in 2020. So this screenshot is from the Zoom call that Ann mentioned earlier in our presentation that was organized back in October. And it was for grant recipients and gave them the opportunity to come together and learn more about each other. We held this virtual information share as part of our guiding principle to offer support beyond the check. Knowing that resources are thinner than ever due to COVID, we thought that by telling their stories and by sharing information about their missions, these local charities might even find opportunities to collaborate and to do more together in order to help our community. So I'm going to leave it at that and thank everybody for the opportunity to come this morning and talk about what Innisfil Community Foundation has been doing. And I'm going to invite all Rotarians to offer any questions or comments that they have to the Innisfil Community Foundation Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Em. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Really impressive. My goodness, I had no idea what you guys were up to. That's amazing.
Thank you, Em. Anybody else have anything to ask about any of the groups that we have supported?
President Ann, it's Jason. Could I make a quick comment?
Absolutely.
Or Spencer could?
Ooh.
I just wanted to thank the board and Jen for all of the amazing work. I'm sure I speak for council when I say that we really had no idea how this would work out, handing the reins over to you wonderful people, and you've moved beyond our wildest expectations, and particularly shown that you can react to what's going on in the community. And you moved so much more quickly and with more agility than the town could. And we're just so proud of the work that you've done. Thank you, and please keep it up.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Anybody else, any comments or questions?
President Ann?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, is the OLG money still used as a funding source for the foundation?
Go ahead.
Yep, the OLG funding is what's used for the majority of the grants. This past year, we were lucky to get extra funding from the federal government for the Emergency Community Support Fund, which was helpful because it was a budget cycle and it was COVID and the casinos are closed, so we weren't quite sure what was going to happen with that funding. But town council did commit to continuing that funding for the next few years.
So the fact that the OLG is not producing funds right now won't slow the foundation down?
So far, it looks okay. We're still, it's something that we're keeping an eye on. And we're making sure that we're taking advantage of any other funding opportunities that we can, and starting to fundraise as well this year, just to make sure. It still looks good right now, but as the pandemic continues and their doors are shut, you never know what's going to happen. So we're making sure that we have other options as well.
Thanks, that's great.
Thanks, Jen. Barry, you had a question?
Yes, I was on the original committee when the town started giving up the funds to be distributed, and it was called the Community Reinvestment Fund. And I think there were 6 or 7 of us on that committee, and we had a budget of $100,000. And I'm certainly proud to see what's happened today, especially over this last year with the new processes. It's amazing, because when we started out, we were giving out we had applications. We were giving out money to individuals, small groups in the town, like hockey and soccer and so on like that. And so I was with that original committee for 4 years. And like I said, I'm very proud of what has come out of this, of these events. So just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to ask? I'm just trying to see if there's any more hands up here. I can't see anything, so just want to thank Howard and Sandra for joining us today. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you like. I know you guys have busy lives as well, but before you leave, Howard, can you just give us a quick update on what's happening with the food bank and the clothing bank at the church, please?
Yes, we with the red zone being implemented on Tuesday, we are going to be reopening our clothing probably next week. We're still working on some details there, and again, coordinating the volunteers to come back in to do it. The food bank has had absolutely overwhelming support from the community this period of time. We are in really good shape compared to many places, and it's been just strong community support. And we did get some support from the county as well that helped. And so, yeah, our food bank has not grown in terms of the number of usage over the last little while. We were really anticipating a much larger increase, but we think that's still going to come. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. But I think we have never been able to, we never had to turn anybody away. And they're getting very generous portions at this point. So it's functioning very well.
Thanks, Howard. So you can start taking clothing contributions starting next week, I guess.
We're hoping to next week to start receiving, and then the following week we'll open for free shopping by appointment only.
Okay, thank you, Howard. Appreciate that.
I think
Did
Dean,
anybody else have any questions for Howard?
I had a
Yeah.
question for Howard.
Go ahead.
So for the clothing donation, with this all this extra time at home, I have 2 growing boys that have filled 3 garbage bags full of clothes that they've grown out of. And Howard, just drop it off at the church?
once the clothing chute opens, it's 24/7. Anytime the chute's open, all the time. Once we reopen, and it will be processed. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Howard. And as I say, you're welcome to stay if you like. And Sandra still on the line, or is she? Okay,
She's here.
thank you.
I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sandra. You're welcome to stay if you like. We understand you're a very busy lady as well. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
thank you. Bye-bye. All right, I just wanted to give you an update on, if you remember a few months ago, we were contacted by the Whitby Sunrise Rotary Club asking if we could help to contribute towards the rebuilding of a pediatric unit in Beirut, which had been destroyed due to the explosion that happened in Beirut a few months ago. And I just wanted to give you an update from Steve Rutledge in Whitby regarding that particular project. And he says, "Hello everyone, 6 months ago when the explosion happened, I knew very little about Beirut and its rich history and culture. I have learned a lot since then, but felt raising almost $400,000 US seemed more like a pipe dream than a serious possibility. I figured that raising $100,000 Canadian for this project from Canada, especially during COVID, would be next to impossible. We raised $245,000 Canadian. Quite frankly, Dawn, that's Dawn Stracker from Global Grant, quite frankly, Dawn and just a couple of friends in your district gave me the first good news and real hope. Thank you all for inspiring me and for the support of each of you to make this happen. Our small team is ecstatic. Canadian Rotarians have the biggest heart, and this is proven by the fact that we are by far the largest donor country. We even raised enough to supply 19 electric beds, including 3 special ones for the rest of the pediatric neonatal ward. They were only able to save 6 beds from the explosion, so with our 19, the pediatric ward will be fully equipped again. Take care, and I will send further updates as we receive them. And that's from Steve Rutledge from the Whitby Sunrise Club. So it's nice to think that we were able to contribute towards that, and what a success story for Canadian Rotary clubs to have made such a significant impact to that grant. So that's fantastic. Let's see. Barb. Oh no, hang on a minute. I'll come to you in a minute, Barb. Just want to mention that the Rotary Leadership Institute Part 2 is being held virtually, and it will be Saturday, March 13th, Saturday, March 20th, and Saturday, March 27th from 9 to 11. And it's $20 a person. This is actually a really good opportunity for those who recently took Part 1, because normally these are just held in North Bay and you have to wait each year to take the next part. So it's a way to accelerate the the leadership training if you want to sign up for part 2 as well. We haven't heard about
And
part
I
3
think that's
yet.
full. I think that course
Oh,
is
is it
full.
full now?
Yeah,
That's what,
Okay.
we have 4 members from our club actually attending that, so kudos to them.
Okay.
But yeah, it's full right now. We've got,
Okay. I think it was limited to 24, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Janet and Barb. Barb, I just wondered if you wanted to give a quick update on what's happening with the Y.
it's a bad morning to ask that. I got an email yesterday saying that I could start booking my classes at 12:01 this morning. And for those of you who know me very well, 12:01 is not my favorite time of day when I have to be up at 6 o'clock. So I waited and I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried until 1 o'clock. And then I gave up and went to bed. So I think they've got a glitch in their system, but they are supposed to be opening for classes tomorrow, which is fabulous. I'm sure this is just as somebody forgot to take the holds off people's accounts. And I think there's the same excitement that was there last time when this happened. I know that there's 2 or 3 people who have been texting me about, you know, did you get in, or that kind of thing. So it will be 10 people per class, the same as before. It will be very, you can't just go there and show up. You have to book an appointment, and you have to make sure that you have your clearance every day. You do your survey. But basically, it's a replica of what was happening in the fall and up till Christmas time. What I did notice when I looked at the schedule was, though, they doubled up some of the really popular classes in that they're having an 8:15 to 9:30 and then a 9:45 to 10:30 class of the same one, because there were so many people that wanted to come, but as soon as the 10 spots were filled, there was frustration. So I think they've learned from last go round, and they're trying really hard to do it. And I know Dean's wife is probably pulling her hair out.
Is she, Dean?
Absolutely. I was so happy to leave for work this morning.
Well, I forgot I could call her too. I sent a note to Cynthia, but it's sort of like anything else when it tries to restart. If it hasn't been working for a bit, it's hard to restart the engine. So they're doing their best, and I know people are so anxious to do something regular and routine and to feel well with fitness. So.
Okay, thank you, Barb. It's nice to see that our community is slowly reopening again. But
President Ann,
yes,
President
yes.
Ann, I think that Ryla will be impacted maybe by the decision that the board made, though. There's a decision around Geneva Park, and I'm not sure whether people are familiar with the fact that due to some of the financial situations that are going on with the Y due to being closed, and they are a charity, they're not a for-profit, so their reserves are maintained differently. And they're looking at selling, the board is looking at selling Geneva Park to help get them out of this conundrum they're in financially. And it's been in the media, it's been around, maybe not as much here as it is in Aurelia, but just not to surprise anybody if you hadn't heard that, that's happening. And I'm not sure, I meant to ask Steve Meadley on our telephone meeting about whether or not Ryla was even contemplated for this year, but if memory serves me, Ryla's always at Geneva Park, so I have to make sure those two things connect. But I can also update you just briefly, President Ann, that I've started my coaching for next year for the assistant governor, and I'm learning secrets that I will share with you.
What, now?
No, not in front of everyone, for heaven's sake. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Barb.
Nothing earth shattering. It's just how the back, when we get things from the district governor or whoever, you wonder, how did that happen? Now I know how it happens, or some of it.
It's sometimes confusing when we get all these emails and there's no distribution list attached. It's hard sometimes to know, has that gone to everybody or is it just gone to certain people? So I always test it out on Barb before we forward it to everybody else again. Go, did you get this directly or what? Thank you, Barb, for that update. Also, just wanted to mention that the libraries are open again on a limited basis. You can go in, browse, get your books, and leave. You can also still have curbside pickup. As you all know, the library has just been amazing throughout this whole COVID pandemic with the support that they have provided to the town of Innisfil. So kudos to the library for that. Also, I've seen online, and maybe somebody else knows more about this, there's some project going on called Innisfil. It's almost like Barrylicious, only on on an Innisfil basis. So I would like people, if they're interested in that, to help support that as well. Okay, next Tuesday is a board meeting, and please let me know if any members have anything that they would like raised at next week's board meeting. That's all I have right now, so we definitely have time for a good news round today, unless anybody else has anything they'd like to raise before we move to a good news round. Don't see anybody with the hands up. All right, so I'll go through. Ankel, what would you like to talk about today?
I don't really have any good news. It's been cold and we've been shut down until yesterday, but I did make a trip to the library and restocked on library books. So that was good to be able to actually go in and have a look at what's on the shelves rather than just do it virtually. And I guess the other thing is Larry and I have taken up walking on the trail over in Cookstown. And we've really enjoyed the fresh air and walking between Cookstown, and haven't quite made it to Thornton yet, but it's on our to-do list. So it's been good to get outside, and that's about it. That's all that's been going on with us.
Okay, thanks, Anne. Dean.
Not a lot. Just happy to see everyone, and everyone have a great week.
Okay, thanks, Dean. Howard, do you have some good news you'd like to share with us?
Sure. I heard a presentation today of the Innisfil Community Foundation. It's gave away almost $200,000 last year, and I hope that I'll be able to join that team sometime.
Thanks, Howard. Jeff, do you have some good news to share?
Not a whole lot. Nothing's changed. Everything's still the same, and that's about the extent of it. We're pushing some more snow than we have in a while now again. So that's about it. Everything's good. So
how's that rink coming up behind your house?
I don't know. We have to keep shoveling, and every time you shovel it, you get tired. You don't want to skate anymore. So
thanks, Jeff. Tim, do you have something to share?
Mostly my wife's quite ecstatic that we've ordered the last of the products we need for our kitchen reno, which will be happening in April. So our new granite countertops, everything's all been selected. So a lot of money going out the door really fast, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we have to tear things out and rebuild again back in up in April. Be all efficiency care then.
And you know what happens? You redo the kitchen, then you realize that you really need to redo the bathrooms and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, I'm prepared for that.
Barry.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. I just want to follow up with Ann on the walking trail. Lynn and I go down there fairly regularly as well, and it's off the 5th of Essa. It was just where you start, and then you go south to Cookstown, and it's a beautiful flat trail. It's for the most part it's protected by a lot of cedar trees, so if there are windy conditions, there is some safety in there. But yeah, so we do, if you go from the 5th of Essa down to Cookstown and back, it's about 6-7 kilometers, so it's a nice walk.
Thank you, Barry. Brandy, do you have anything to share?
Well, I do. It's not necessarily good news. Not much has been gone over on our side. Kids returned to school, and as of last night at 7:30, I received an email that my daughter's class is shut down, and my kids are to proceed to COVID testing today.
Sorry to hear.
A bit alarmed by that, but for the next 2 weeks, we're all stuck together again.
So how long did that last?
If anybody's ever seen The Shining, I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, hopefully that all works out.
Well,
fine.
they don't have any symptoms, when we were just notified last night. So whoever in her class, it was actually multiple people in her class tested positive over the weekend. So as long as they don't have symptoms, we're not hitting a panic button. But we do have to COVID test twice now, is the new rules. COVID test today, and then we must COVID test again on the 22nd in order to return on the 27th.
Wow. And then 27th of February, right? So then a March break is cancelled anyway, right? So
yeah, I think
okay.
it's April 12th to the 16th is the new March break.
Okay,
It's the new
thanks,
April.
Brandy. Good luck with that one. Jason, do you have anything to share?
Hi, everyone. I'm experiencing firsthand the madness of the real estate market. I bid on something yesterday. There were 16 offers, and we lost, even though we were $150,000 over asking. So the market is totally insane. I'm excited for everyone who's selling, and I pity those that are like me trying to buy. Have a good day,
Oh,
everyone.
that's in Windsor.
That's right. Yeah, I had hoped that outside of the GTA, President Anne, things would be a little bit calmer, but nope. For some reason, everyone is in full panic mode.
Oh, wow. Good luck, Jason. Jennifer, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I think we're just are excited that our restores are open, so it means money's coming in our door. That's great. Our berry bill can hopefully get started because it's been super delayed. And we're actually, our berry restore, which is where my office is attached, is moving. So the renovations have been put on hold because of the stay-at-home order. So the renovations are starting, and we'll be moving into the berry examiner location at the top of Bayfield Street, hopefully by end of March. So that's exciting.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Barb.
Oh, I think I talked enough already.
You're just excited to get back to the Y, we know.
Yeah.
And get online. Okay, Al, do you have anything to share?
You're on mute.
Brandy, we'll all be thinking of those wonderful. I've had the pleasure of meeting those wonderful kids of yours, so I know we'll be thinking of them. I just wanted to mention, in Texas the other day, it was -12, and in Innisfil, it was -7. And we had lots of snow. It was cold, not too bad. But in Texas, they don't know how to handle it, and it's really quite funny to watch some of the antics down there. So my good news is that Canadians can handle the weather. Thank you.
The thing is, though, they have no electricity, so I think we wouldn't be handling it quite as well if we didn't have electricity as to get through this either. Jen, do you have anything to share?
Just a really nice sunrise this morning. I saw it coming through the trees, and I just actually took a moment to appreciate it, which normally I feel like I'm go, go, go. So it was just nice to just enjoy that for a minute.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Teresa, did you want to share something about your daughter's class as well? We did send the email out to the members.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate that. Catherine is a yoga instructor, and she's extended the invite to any Rotarians or family members that wish to participate in it. She's really good. And I've been doing a lot of binge watching, and Robert and I are doing quite a bit of walking. I average about 30,000 steps a day, which I'm quite proud of. Yeah.
That's great.
And I'm going to Costco today, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Enjoy. Okay, Whitney, do you have anything to share?
Like Barb, Ryan and I are ecstatic to have the gyms opening. So Ryan is chomping at the bit to get into the Y. And I am excited to go to my first Pilates class again today. So looking forward to that, because we have not been getting 30,000 steps. We've been getting 3,000 maybe. So yeah, very excited to have the gyms open again.
Okay, thanks, Whitney. Chief Fletcher.
He left.
He left? Okay. Michael.
He has all these meetings and stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Michael Stanley?
Not too much. I mean, we're still isolated, but we've been doing walks. We got used to walking on water. I mean, I don't know if it's a second coming or not, but you know, it really is quite something. Now I understand how he did it. I think that the water there froze.
The Red Sea freezes?
Yes.
I must say, this past weekend, this family weekend, I don't think I've ever seen so many walkers on the lake as there were this past weekend.
Yeah, we were looking at your house, looking at us walking on the lake, but I don't think you noticed us looking at you.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. Susie?
Morning. Construction's almost done at the office. Thank goodness. I'll get Sean back because I need a shower head changed, and that's not happening. But just ticking along, still here, still working from home, and I'll get back to the office someday.
How's your mother, Susan?
Yeah.
She's good. She's better. She's off the oxygen, and we're thankful that she's still with us. So it's good.
That's great news. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janet?
Everything's pretty good. We're in the middle of our kitchen renovations right now too. I'm painting drawers and doors, and it seems to be going nuts that way. School's going good, and we're back to skiing again. So Ken went out yesterday up to Collingwood. I had to teach yesterday, unfortunately, but he had powder up to and above his knees, and we never get that in Collingwood. Not typically, it's runway skiing. So this was a really nice thing. And our grandson went. He's all of 4.5 years old, and he just loved it. He just said he went on Dr. Doug, which is a bigger ski hill than he's ever been on before. So he was just ecstatic. So it's good to get them out there.
That's great. Thanks, Janet. Ken, do you have some good news to share?
I'm just happy to be here. It's nice to see everybody, and be safe out there, and have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Ken. Eleanor?
It's good to be here, and just hearing about the trail in Cookstown, it sounds a bit more exciting than Killarney Beach Road and Churchill and around and about in my walks. So I'm going to give it a try. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Eleanor. Chris Beggs. Is Chris still on the line?
I think she's gone.
She's gone?
Yeah, I don't see her.
Okay. Judy.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, just happy to be in the Rotary meeting this morning, and I hope everybody has a good week.
Okay, thanks, Judy. Is there anybody else that I have not called upon at this point? No? Okay, well, my good news is I had no hospital appointments this week. It's been great. No medical appointments this week. So that's been a great week for me. So we are finishing a little early this morning, but so just want to see if anybody has anything they'd like to share before we call the meeting to an end today. Anybody? Quiet group this morning. Everyone's tired this morning. Okay, well, thanks, guys. A great meeting, and thank you all for being here, and have a safe week, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Okay.
Thanks, Ann.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers, all.